Okay, right. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. So yesterday we discussed different types of testing, right? And we discussed in detail till soap testing, I think, right? We completed till soap testing. Now, let us understand the stress test. Okay, this memory leak and connection leak, I will explain it later. Okay, it's too early to explain those now, so we'll discuss that later. So now let's move on to the next type of testing, that is stress testing. So stress testing is, what is the objective of doing stress testing? Or how is first of all, how is stress test done is by gradually increasing the user load until the application breaks. Okay, so that is the meaning of stress, right? So what is the meaning of stress? What is the meaning of stress test? Pressure or tension exerted on a material object, right? Additional pressure or additional tension, isn't it? So stress test is done by gradual increase of user load more than normal load, right? You go beyond the normal or expected user load on the application and gradually increase the user load until the application breaks. So what is the meaning of application breaking? Is how do you know that the application has broken, right? So application broken means you'll get high response times and error count. Response times and error count increases once breaking point is attained. Then you'll say that you'll determine that is the breaking point of that application. At what load you started seeing that high response times and error count, that load is called as that is the breaking point of the application. So the main purpose of stress testing is to identify an application's breaking point. Clear, guys?
Sir, response time means what, sir?
What is it?
Response time means what?
Is this your first session?
No, sir.
No, we discussed that in the last sessions, right? What is the response time? Suppose you type Amazon, you are accessing any application like Amazon or Flipkart, right? And you got some response from the server, and it took certain time to get that response, right? I'll use a private browser. Let's say, I'm trying to access Apple website, right? And it is taking some time to load the page, right? That is called as response time. The time took the time it has taken from the moment you send the request till you receive the response.
Okay, sir.
That is called as response time. Now, response times increased on them. We defined here saying that, response times and error count increases. Increases means, how can you say that it increased? Or at, above what number it is called, we can consider as increased is every response time or every page will have certain SLS, right? We also discussed that every page will have certain SLS, like home page 2 seconds, login page 3 seconds, something like that. Clear, guys? So
Yes.
if response times are going beyond those SLS, then we say that response times are increasing. As simple as that. But for that, we need to know what are the SLS of that page. What is the response time SLA for each page? Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, hi, Satish.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, yeah. So I think Satish inquired for his wife, right? Your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Satish on behalf of
Okay. Right. Yeah. So is it clear, guys, how stress testing is done? We'll see that, you can do that practically. So once we start scripting and once we are done with the scripting, right, we'll do that practically. We'll gradually increase the user load and see what is the breaking point of that application. The next type of testing is spike testing. So which we already discussed, right? When we are discussing this in one of the previous sessions, we already discussed that. But still, as there are some new participants, let us discuss one, let me repeat it. So spike testing, so what is the general meaning of spike, guys? What is the general meaning of spike?
Sudden increase in
A sudden increase, isn't it? A sudden sharp increase or sudden increase is called as a spike. A sudden increase in the magnitude, right? That is called as a spike. So what is spike testing? How spike testing is done? And which applications require spike testing, by the way?
Amazon, e-commerce applications,
E-commerce applications like Flipkart or Amazon. Next,
travel applications.
IRCTC.
IRCTC. Yes, those kind of applications require the spike testing. Why does IRCTC require spike testing?
For Tatkal registration.
Yes. So whenever there is a Tatkal window opens, suddenly there will be, all the users will try to access the application at once, right? So there will be a sharp increase in the user load, isn't it? So that's why those kind of applications require spike testing. So those who joined only today, please go through the previous recording sessions. Satish, I already shared you the previous recording sessions, right? Hope you have went through those. Okay. So these kind of applications require spike testing. IRCT is a kind of application, or e-commerce application like Flipkart or Amazon. They require spike testing. Clear, guys? Because whenever there is a flash sale or big billion sale, there will be a sudden increase in the user load, isn't it? All the users will try to log in at once and book the place an order or book a product, isn't it? To purchase a product, right? So those kind of applications require this spike testing also, along with load testing and soak testing. Here it is. Now, spike testing can be considered as a subset of stress testing. Okay. So what is this? How is this spike testing done? By sudden increase in user load beyond expected load for shorter duration. So spike testing is done by sudden increase in the user load beyond expected load for shorter duration. Okay. And volume testing, we already discussed that in detail. And it is also called as flood testing, right? And not so important for you, so I will not repeat this. We already discussed that. Those who missed the previous session, please go through the recorded session. Not so important also, so I will not repeat it. And scalability testing is performed to identify if the application is capable to scale up in terms of user load, right? What is scalability testing? To test if an application is capable to scale up in terms of user load. That means, let's say an application supports 10,000 users. Now, the client want to check like, what is the, how much the application is scalable, or what is the maximum user load that it can support, right? Then they do this scalability testing. Okay. And failure testing, the other type of testing is failure testing, which we already discussed, isn't it? Failure testing is used to verify the system's ability to continue day-to-day operations while the processing part is transferred to a backup environment. So I explained, failure testing in detail with examples in yesterday's session, isn't it? Yesterday's session. So please go through that. Okay. I gave very good examples, best examples, I can say, for failure testing. So these are the different types of testing, guys, different types of performance testing, right? These are the different types of performance testing. And we will do a couple of these once we complete scripting. Then we will do a couple of this load testing and soak testing at least. Okay. And stress testing also. I'll try to cover stress testing also. Now, any queries, guys? Any queries on this concept? What are the different types of performance testing? Those who joined, last 2-3 sessions.
No, sir.
Okay. So can we go to the assessment then? We will have a quick assessment. I will show you some graphs randomly and you need to identify what are those graphs. Okay. Shall we start that exercise? Actually, like in interviews, they will not ask you, they will not show you the graphs. In interviews, they will not show you the graphs. They will ask you to draw the graph. Please remember that. In interviews, they may ask you, interviewer may ask you to draw the graph. Okay. But as you are beginners now, so I am showing some graphs and this is training. So I will be showing some graphs and you need to identify what type of graph does this, what type of test does this graph best represents. And observe here, before that, observe here, before answering, observe here. The x-axis you have test time or test duration, and on y-axis you have virtual user load. Means nothing but how many users are accessing the application. Okay. Is it clear, guys, everyone? We call this as x-axis, isn't it? This horizontal line is called as x-axis, and test time is represented on x-axis, and on y-axis, which is vertical line, right? This vertical line is called as y-axis, and on y-axis, number of users accessing the application, that is represented over here. Okay. Now tell me, like, what type of test does this graph best represents?
Spike test.
Like users are suddenly increment in certain points.
Incrementing and for shorter duration, isn't it? We just
Yes.
now discussed it.
User load becomes
Yeah.
large.
Spike testing.
We discussed it yesterday.
Spike
Sudden increase in the user load beyond expected load for shorter duration. So this graph best represents a, so observe
Spike
here.
test.
So, yeah, observe here, suppose this is the normal user load. Okay. If you assume that this is the normal user load on the application, somewhere around 1000 or 2000 or whatever it is. Now there are some spikes here, isn't it? You see some spikes here, right? And then users came down to normal user load, and then again there is another spike. Okay, isn't it? So this graph best represents a
Spike test.
spike test. Clear? And ఇంకా చెప్పాలంటే this graph best represents IRCTC applications test, spike test on IRCTC application, right? We have two Tatkal windows, right? One at 10 o'clock and one at 11 o'clock, isn't it? Yes, sir, no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You know that what are the Tatkal window timings?
Yeah, yes. 10
Yes,
for
sir.
AC
10
tires
o'clock
and
for
1
AC
for
or non-AC?
AC section.
Okay, 10 o'clock Tatkal window is for AC and AC reservation, and 11 o'clock is for non-AC reservation, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right? Now, so what does this graph represents?
Testing.
Some point of it is gradually increasing with the uniform
Test
users.
testing.
Right. So we are gradually increasing the user load on the application, isn't it?
Yes.
So we are gradually increasing the user load on the application. We increase the users. Again, this is, we maintain the same user load. That's what this flat line represents. Suppose ఇక్కడ ఒక 1000 users test 1000 users increase చేసాము. Then we are maintaining that same 1000 user load for some time. This is called a steady state. Again, we are increasing, after some time, again, we are increasing the user load and maintaining steady state. Again, increasing user load, again, maintaining steady state. So we are gradually increasing the user load. So this graph best represents a
Stress test.
stress test. And how about this one? What is this one?
Load test.
Load test.
Load
How can you say that
test.
it is a load test?
Like
Because we are running it for 1 hour.
Right. So if you observe the graph, right? So on the somewhere I have mentioned it, the duration as 1H. 1H is nothing but 1 hour. Okay. So this graph best represents a load test. Clear, guys? Load test is normally done for 1 to 2 hours, right? With the expected user load on the application, isn't it? And now what does this graph best represents?
Endurance.
Soak or endurance test, because you see 5 hours over here. And now the last one, what does this graph represents? And observe here, till now all the graphs are having test duration on x-axis, and on y-axis you are having virtual users, isn't it? Now here, observe here, data on y-axis, the data quantity is represented. So what
Volume
is this graph?
Volume test.
Volume testing.
Volume testing, as simple as that, right? So as this is representing, data volume, so this is volume testing. This graph best represents volume testing, right? Any queries, guys?
For the same, if we have virtual users on y-axis, will it be stress test power?
What is that?
For the
Last
volume
slide.
testing graph which you have shown, in
Okay.
case y-axis
You-
low virtual users unte,
Yes.
that would be stress test again, right?
Yeah, you can gradually, so this is also increasing gradually,
Increasing.
right? We are not linear, we are not increasing all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But generally, this is how stress test is done. So we'll increase the user load, wait for some time, and then again increase, and then wait for some time to maintain steady state. Okay. Ideally, you should do a stress test like this, but not like this. Clear?
That may show breaking point of application if it is a sudden spike.
What is that?
the last graph, if it is virtual users on the y-axis and a stress test breaking point చూపియడానికి we can show that graph, right?
Yeah, sorry, I missed you.
This graph, if the y-axis has the virtual users,
Hmm.
breaking point చూపియడానికి can we use like this, or it is again the step model only?
Now, please follow this approach only.
Okay, got it.
Doing a stress test, whenever you have to do a stress test, please follow this approach only.
Okay, got it.
Because like we need to, once we ramp up the users, we need to wait for some time to see the performance of the application on that user load.
Okay.
Got it? Let's say this is 1000 user load. Okay. You increase to 1000 user load and wait for some time to see the application behavior. Again, increase it to 1500 or 2000. Again, like wait for some time and observe the system behavior. Okay.
Okay.
And again, you ramp up, some more users and wait for some, maintain some steady state for some more time. Right? So this is the, ideally we should do a stress test like this. Okay. Any other queries, guys, from anyone? And
No, sir.
and please share your Gmail ID, guys. I will be adding you to the Google Classroom, and I'll also be sharing online test for you. Okay. So I'll be adding all your email IDs, those who confirm your joining. So, and I'll be sharing the training material. I want to share the training material to those who confirm their joining. All right. So, every batch will have a Google Classroom like this, and you will get assignments, daily assignments in this Google Classroom. So once I give an assignment, you will get an email basically. You will get an email with the given assignment. Okay. I'll add all the participants like this. Clear, guys? And everyone will get an assignment and you need to work on the assignment. So I'll be adding you. To add you to that Google Classroom, I need your Gmail IDs. If you already provided, if you already pinged, shared to me in WhatsApp, so you can ignore that. I got my WhatsApp back. You can ignore that. Okay. Otherwise, those who did not share before, please share it directly to me. Okay. Please don't ping it in the group or Zoom chat directly to everyone. Please share it to me separately. And yeah, I'll stop it here, guys. Today, I had to take a lengthy session for the JMeter batch. So I'll stop it here. We'll continue tomorrow. Okay. So, we have some interviews. I am scheduling some interviews for them for the current JMeter batch, guys. We are providing some referral openings. Okay. So that's why, we are planning additional session on Sunday as well. I had to take, extended session today till 9:20. So I'll stop it here, guys. We'll continue tomorrow. So any queries, guys, before we close the session for today? I know it is a very short session. Any queries?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
No
let's
problem.
start it.